It was funny how a smile could slice you open faster than a knife. And that night, at the glittering company party under chandeliers and champagne flutes, his smile wasn't directed at me. It was for someone else, our mutual colleague, someone I had always assumed was just a name on his daily calendar. I stood by the bar, glass sweating in my hand, trying not to let the jealousy claw through my chest. The room was buzzing with laughter, music, and the kind of corporate gossip that thrived when people drank too much. But all I saw was him, Ethan Carter, the young director who had somehow broken every one of my defenses without even asking permission. He was leaning too close, laughing too easily, his hand brushing the arm of another man as though the rest of the world, including me, had vanished. My throat burned with the champagne I hadn't even sipped yet. Was this it? Was I just some secret to him? A hidden chapter in a book he only opened when no one else was around? "Don't stare too hard," a colleague muttered as they passed me, a smirk tugging at their lips. "You'll give yourself away." Too late. I already had. I set the glass down and slipped out of the ballroom before I could think better of it. The laughter trailed after me like a cruel echo as I pushed open the door leading to the hotel's outdoor pool. The cool night air hit me like a blessing, carrying away the heat of humiliation that had been rising in my face. The pool shimmered under moonlight, its surface broken by ripples from the night breeze. I walked along its edge, staring at my reflection, wondering why the hell I had ever believed this could work. Ethan was everything. Brilliant, charismatic, the youngest director the company had ever had. I was me. A decent project manager, invisible when I wanted to be, safe in the shadows. Maybe that's what I had always been to him, two convenient shadows. The click of hurried footsteps echoed behind me. My chest tightened. I didn't want to turn around, but my body betrayed me anyway. "Daniel." His voice, breathless and raw, called into the night. I froze, my heart caught between anger and aching hope. Ethan stepped into view, his tie loose now, his eyes searching mine with desperation I hadn't seen inside that ballroom. "Don't," I said sharply, holding up a hand before he could come closer. "Don't you dare." His chest rose and fell rapidly, as though he had sprinted the length of his life to get here. "You just left." You couldn't what? My laugh was hollow. "You couldn't stand to lose your audience? Or you couldn't stand being caught with me in the open?" The words sliced between us, harsher than I meant them to be, but maybe harsh was what he needed to hear. Ethan flinched but didn't look away. "It wasn't what it looked like. That's the thing, Ethan. It never is it? You always have an explanation, a reason, an excuse." My voice cracked despite the wall I tried to build. Meanwhile, I'm the one standing outside in the dark, wondering why I let myself believe I mattered to you. He closed the distance, ignoring the warning in my eyes, and reached for my wrist. His touch was electric, grounding me even as I wanted to pull away. "You do matter," he whispered fiercely. "More than anyone." The pool lights shimmered around us, painting his face with gold and blue. His eyes were wide, unguarded, nothing like the polished mask he wore in the office. And in that moment, I hated him for making me feel like the only person in the world while also making me feel like the last. I yanked my hand back. "Then why don't you ever prove it?" He swallowed, the words catching in his throat. "Because I'm terrified, Daniel. Of them. Of what they'll say. Of what it'll mean for my career, for yours. I can handle their whispers about me, but dragging you into it," his voice broke. "I didn't want to ruin you." My chest ached at the rawness in his tone, but the anger was still there, sharp and insistent. "So instead, you ruin us?" Silence stretched, broken only by the hum of the city and the gentle lapping of water against the pool's edge. Ethan's shoulders sagged as though the weight of his double life was finally too heavy to carry. "I don't want to lose you," he admitted, voice almost a plea. "Tell me how to fix this. Tell me what to do." I laughed bitterly. "You think it's that easy? That I can hand you a checklist on how to be brave enough to love me?" His jaw clenched, but his eyes softened. "No, but I'm asking anyway." I turned away, staring out across the glittering skyline beyond the pool. My reflection stared back at me from the dark water, fractured, uncertain. I don't know if you can, Ethan. Maybe it's too late. The sound of his shoes scraping against the stone told me he'd stepped closer again. Then give me a chance to prove it's not. My breath caught. The night air seemed to thicken between us, heavy with everything unspoken. My heart wanted to believe him. My head knew better. But before I could decide, he whispered, "Daniel, look at me." Against my better judgment, I did. And in his gaze, I saw the boy underneath the director, the boy who had held me when I couldn't breathe, who had whispered dreams into my skin, who had kissed me like I was air itself. And damn it, I still loved him. The city never forgives weakness, and neither does the corporate world. That was the truth I had lived with for years, and yet Ethan stood before me that night, ready to challenge both. Days passed after the party, and I tried to retreat into myself. I avoided him at work, dodged his glances in meetings, and drowned my thoughts in endless tasks. But nothing silenced the memory of his voice breaking under moonlight when he said he was terrified of losing me. It was a cruel contradiction, wanting someone so much you could hardly breathe, and yet resenting them for not being brave enough to stand beside you in the open. My friends told me to cut him off. My own mind screamed the same, but my heart betrayed me every time. 1 week later, I found myself standing in the empty office late at night. The floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the glowing skyline, the silence thick enough to hear my own pulse. I was packing up when I heard footsteps. "Daniel." His voice was quiet, almost reverent. I didn't turn, but I felt him behind me. "You shouldn't be here." "Neither should you," he said gently. "But here we are." I shut my bag and faced him, prepared for another round of excuses. Instead, I saw something different. His suit jacket was gone, sleeves rolled up, and his eyes burned with determination. "I told the board today," he said, his voice steady but his hands trembling. My breath caught. "Told them what?" "About us," he exhaled shakily. "About me. About everything." The room tilted, my brain scrambling to process. You came out? To them?" He nodded. "I did. And I don't care what it costs me." I shook my head, disbelief crashing over me. "Why would you?" "Because I'm done hiding." He cut in, stepping closer. His words fell like a vow. "Done making you feel like you're anything less than the most important part of my life. I love you, Daniel. I've loved you in the shadows, in the stolen moments, in the silences between meetings. But I don't want shadows anymore. I want us." Tears stung my eyes, sudden and uninvited. I hated how much I wanted to believe him, how desperately I needed those words. "Do you even realize what you've done?" The backlash, the whispers. "Let them whisper," Ethan said fiercely. "Let them talk. Let them build their rumors. None of it matters if I can't come home to you." The dam inside me broke. For weeks, I had built walls out of fear and betrayal, but now he was tearing them down, brick by brick, with nothing but his honesty. I let out a shaky laugh. "You're insane." "Maybe," he admitted, smiling through the tension. "But I'm yours." Something in me shifted then. The resentment melted into something softer, something achingly familiar. I stepped closer, close enough to see the way his pulse raced at his throat, close enough to feel his breath mingling with mine. "You hurt me," I whispered. "I know." His hand hovered near mine, waiting for permission. "And I'll spend the rest of my life making up for it if you let me." The silence between us stretched, fragile but full of promise. Finally, I laced my fingers with his. His grip was immediate, warm, steady. And in that quiet office high above the city, we kissed not like a secret, not like a stolen sin, but like a declaration. His lips trembled against mine, and mine against his, but neither of us pulled away. For the first time, it wasn't about fear. It was about freedom. Weeks turned into months, and the world did what it always does. It gossiped, it speculated, it judged. But Ethan held his head high, and I found myself learning to do the same. We faced whispers in the elevator, side glances in meetings, even pointed questions at conferences. Yet through it all, he never let go of my hand under the table, never hesitated to call me his. One evening, we returned to that same hotel, to the same pool where everything had cracked open between us. This time, we weren't hiding in shadows. The pool glowed with soft light, the city humming around us. Ethan leaned against the railing, his arm brushing mine. "Funny, isn't it?" he said with a smile. "This is where I almost lost you." I looked at him, my heart swelling with something I couldn't quite name. "And where you chased me." His smile softened, eyes glinting with the memory. "I'd chase you anywhere, Daniel. Across a crowded ballroom. Through the whole damn city. As long as it ends with you." The words settled into me like warmth after a storm. I leaned my head against his shoulder, letting the night air wrap around us. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid of what tomorrow would bring. Because love, in its truest form, wasn't about the whispers or the judgment. It was about choosing each other again and again, no matter the cost. And as Ethan's fingers intertwined with mine, steady and unyielding, I realized that sometimes the bravest thing a man could do wasn't conquering a boardroom or outsmarting a rival. Sometimes it was simply standing beside the one he loved, openly, unapologetically, and forever. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.